From breaking headlines to global shakeups, everything you need to know, right now. Let's dive in. In a major development, President Donald Trump has issued a direct warning to Hamas, demanding the immediate release of hostages held in Gaza. In a statement on Truth Social, Trump declared, "This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead." He further warned that failure to comply would result in severe consequences, stating there would be hell to pay later. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has temporarily paused the 25% tariffs on select Canadian and Mexican goods under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. However, the relief will only last for 1 month. A White House official confirmed that only compliant goods will qualify, leaving roughly 62% of Canadian imports still subject to tariffs. Additionally, Trump has reaffirmed that tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum will move forward next week, a decision that previously caused a significant decline in Canadian aluminum exports. In Washington, reports indicate that President Trump is preparing to sign an executive order that would dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. The Wall Street Journal reports the order could be announced as early as Thursday, though it remains unclear whether congressional approval would be necessary for a complete shutdown. Trump has long criticized the department, labeling it a big con job. His education secretary, Linda McMahon, supports the move but noted that federal school funding would still be distributed as allocated by Congress. The Department of Education is responsible for overseeing grants to low-income districts, special education programs, and student loans. While most public school funding comes from state and local governments, the department plays a significant role in enforcing education policies. However, as of today, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has confirmed that Trump will not sign the order immediately. Behind the scenes, administration officials have expressed concerns about potential backlash and the lack of a clear messaging strategy. On Capitol Hill, Melania Trump is pushing Congress to pass the Take It Down Act, a bill aimed at criminalizing the distribution of explicit images, including AI-generated deepfakes, without consent. Speaking at a roundtable discussion, the former First Lady described the impact of such content on teenagers as heartbreaking and emphasized the need for stronger protections. The bill, which has already passed the Senate, would require social media platforms to remove flagged content within 48 hours. It has bipartisan support, including backing from Senators Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar. House Speaker Mike Johnson has voiced support but has not provided a timeline for a vote. In economic news, the Atlanta Federal Reserve's GDP Now model is forecasting a 2.8% contraction for the first quarter of 2025, marking a dramatic reversal from last week's projection of 2.3% growth. This significant downward revision follows weak manufacturing data and a record $153 billion trade deficit in January. Analysts believe the sharp drop was driven by businesses rushing to import goods before Trump's tariffs take effect. Other economic models remain positive. The New York Fed's nowcast still predicts 2.9% growth, while the Dallas Fed's index shows 2.4% growth. However, the Atlanta Fed's model has historically been one of the most accurate indicators, signaling potential trouble ahead for policymakers and financial markets. In Florida, Attorney General James Uthmeier has launched a criminal investigation into Andrew and Tristan Tate, just days after their return from Romania. The brothers, who face human trafficking charges in Romania, are now under legal scrutiny in the U.S. I've directed the Office of Statewide Prosecution to execute search warrants and issue subpoenas in the now active criminal investigation into the Tate brothers, Uthmeier announced. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has previously stated that the brothers are not welcome in the state. In response, Andrew Tate dismissed the allegations, calling them media pressure and reaffirming his right to return as a U.S. citizen. California Governor Gavin Newsom is making headlines after publicly opposing the participation of transgender women and girls in female sports. Speaking on his new podcast, This is Gavin Newsom, the governor told conservative activist Charlie Kirk, "I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. It's deeply unfair." His remarks come amid ongoing debate within the Democratic Party over cultural issues and their impact on recent election results. Polling shows that a majority of Democrats oppose transgender athletes competing in women's sports. LGBTQ advocacy groups have criticized Newsom's comments, with Equality California's Tony Huang stating that his remarks added to the heartbreak and fear felt under the Trump administration. In the world of space exploration, debris from SpaceX's Starship can now be seen in the Caribbean after the rocket exploded roughly 8 minutes after launch. The failure occurred when several engines shut down prematurely, causing a loss of altitude control. Despite the setback, SpaceX successfully landed its booster at the launch tower. Company spokesperson Dan Hua explained, "Once you lose enough of those center engines, you're going to lose attitude control. And so we did see the ship start to go into a spin, and at this point, we have lost contact with the ship." This marks the 8th test flight of Starship, with the previous launch also ending in failure. SpaceX remains committed to refining the rocket's design as it aims to transport humans to Mars, support lunar missions, and revolutionize Earth-based travel. And finally, President Donald Trump has announced that he would not defend NATO member countries that fail to meet their required defense spending. NATO members are expected to spend at least 2% of their GDP on military defense, though Trump has recently proposed increasing this target to 5%. Several key allies, including Germany, France, and Italy, remain below the 2% threshold. In contrast, Poland and Estonia lead the alliance with defense spending levels exceeding 3% of GDP. Trump's remarks have sparked concern among NATO members, many of whom fear that a lack of U.S. military support could embolden adversaries. That's all for tonight's news update. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue to monitor these stories and bring you the latest developments. Stay safe, stay informed, and have a good night. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.